Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey.
I'm Holly.
Back there's Tucker.
Yep, that's me.
And we're in a vehicle that I'm willing to break one of my cardinal rules on. We are in the 2023 Land Rover Defender 130. And in this video, we'll tell you how this big 3-row British crossover, sport utility, however you want to define it, luxury SUV fits our family of 3. Stay tuned. I really set the bar high with that intro. But
You certainly did.
so my one cardinal rule from the last British car we owned was to never own a vehicle that doesn't have local dealership representation.
Mm-hmm.
The last British car you and I owned together was your Mini Cooper.
Right.
And what was the problem with your Mini Cooper?
We could not get it serviced anywhere, not even to change the oil.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. Not fun.
Yes.
We sold it to your niece. She had similar issues. It is now leaving the family entirely, it sounds like. Pour one out for the Mini Cooper. Now we are in a British vehicle that I want to break that rule for very much. But I'm sure y'all have already seen my solo video on this. What people came to this video for was your impressions of this British car.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Just wholesale, and then we'll dive into the details in our normal. Do you like? Do you dislike?
Well, there is not a lot of cars that you tell me we're getting and I get like super excited. Not that I'm not excited, I just don't come to the same level of excitement for vehicles as you do. You're excited about every car. They could say, we're delivering a hoopty for you to review, and you're like, yes, I hope a wheel falls off. Like, that's just not me. There aren't that many cars that you walk in and you say, we're getting this car next week.
But this one, you've been excited.
I've been excited about.
Has that excitement maintained throughout our week of ownership?
It has, although my rose-colored glasses are not as rosy anymore. Oh. However, it has maintained. I do like this car.
Okay. I joked when we first got this, and I did my normal picture thing, posted on my Facebook page, that at the end of this week you would be saying, Bronco who? We're going to get through all of that. Of course, the Bronco is a body-on-frame SUV. This is a unibody. This has more in common with the Jeep Grand Cherokee that we had recently that neither one of us really liked.
Yeah.
But we'll start with the exterior styling of this because it is very in line with the boxy nature of SUVs, rugged off-road SUVs now. What do you think of the exterior styling of this one? Keeping in mind, this is the extended one with the stretched booty.
It does have a stretched booty. And I'd say that's probably one of the things I don't like as much as the shorter version. It does fit in our garage, though.
It fits.
It fits.
We got it in and closed the door.
It's snug. You should have 2 people parking it, but it fits. Yeah. But as far as the styling goes, it's definitely like, I would say more of a masculine styling, boxy. But there are some like unique elements like this texture up here on the hood.
You know what that's meant to invoke? Land Rovers of yore, back when they were used by the British military, those were like metal places, reinforced metal places that you could stand up on the hood. Mm-hmm. Now that's plastic, don't do that.
Yeah, get that.
So, a military vehicle a la Hummer, a la Jeep Wrangler, things like that. So G-Wagon.
So if you're looking for like kind of a more of a boxy styling, I like it. I think it's got enough curves where it's interesting, but also still like move out of my way.
I think the most interesting design element to me that I want to get your opinion on is that very hard crease at the back corner. Like, it's got a flat backside. Like, you're going along the side, then
Just off.
like, don't like, indifferent.
Indifferent.
Okay.
I would say the only thing that I go back and forth on as far as like really I'm not sure that I like it or not is that box on the side that you said also has like a function, can have a function.
So, yes, for one, instead of just painting the whole pillar and being just like every other SUV around that's got a body-colored A, B, C pillar, they decided to go a little bit funky. And yes, you can get an exterior cargo box that attaches right there that you can keep dirty gear and stuff in.
Which that makes sense to me.
So,
But just the one box, I'm like,
so you're
what
saying
does
we
this
would have to
do?
get the adventure pack if we got one.
of course we would get the adventure pack.
So, okay. So exterior styling in totality, very good. All the fun lighting design on this. This has front and rear fog lights.
Yeah.
Probably because it's British, but and the weather. What are your thoughts moving inside?
I really like the styling on the inside.
Yes.
On the passenger side seat, I'll start with like the best features.
Okay.
Which you're gonna laugh at the best feature.
Okay.
On the passenger side, it has notches on the dashboard to make it very easy to grab when you're trying to get in and out.
So much like the Bronco, we've got this grab handle on the side, on both sides.
On both sides.
But it makes more sense because they moved the air vent up top. The air vent's not like hidden way back here like on the
Right.
Bronco. And then yes, you've got grab handles everywhere.
I wish they had it over here though on the driver's side because there isn't a really good, I mean, you have the handle down here, but if you're short, you really kind of need some leverage
We
pulling
do
it.
have
But we do have the up and down, and that helps
immensely. Like
immensely.
we'll get into it here in a little bit, but when you squat this thing, it squats. And because we have the long one, it looks kind of like a minivan. It loses its ruggedness a little bit when you squat it down.
But it does make it a lot easier to get into. Got 3-person memory seats
over here as well.
on both sides, which is nice. The seats are super comfortable.
With adjustable side bolsters so you can adjust how much it hugs you.
I feel like the design in here is, I'll say, chic, rugged.
I can, yeah.
So
Okay.
you have like the rough Defender texture material
All the exposed
accented throughout the exposed nuts. What do you call them? Exposed
bolts.
bolts. But you don't feel like you're in a rugged off-road. It's just not the same feeling as like getting into a Wrangler or
Right.
the off-road Bronco or something like that.
Again, this being a unibody, which met a lot of criticism when they released this in 2020. But we do have some nice interior touches here. The exterior comes inside here on the door panel. So the gold paint job of this one finds its way inside a little bit. And then, yeah, more exposed screw heads and things like that. A very nice overall design. I've been fairly fond of it. We'll come back, circle back and talk storage and whatnot after we talk ride and handling, because we are about to turn on the historic brick streets of downtown Tyler, Texas, where Tucker can do his wobbly head test and you and I can talk a little more in detail. Tucker, now that we're on the bricks, how's your head back there?
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. I thought he fell asleep back there. What are your thoughts?
I've really thought the ride is pretty smooth. A lot smoother than I was expecting it to be with as big of a car as it is. When I first got in, if you're not used to a bigger vehicle like this, it did feel a little like but overall, like the hitting bumps and stuff like that, you barely even feel it.
Yeah.
It
And
absorbs shocks very well.
one of those bumps that you probably heard back there has jarred us to our bones in some vehicles. So one of the reasons we like coming down here so much is it really does test all of it. And it does. It rides well. So again, going back to the fact that this is the long one, the 130, they also make a shorter version of this called the 110 that has the same wheelbase. So it essentially rides the same. And then they make a 90, which is a two-door version, shorter wheelbase, would probably ride smaller for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, overall, pretty comfortable ride. Shall we continue on ride, power, and handling and come back to storage?
Sure.
Okay. How has been your experience driving this mild hybrid inline 6?
I have liked driving it, like once it's going.
Okay.
I've found it difficult, like if I just need to scooch up just a tad to gauge how much power.
100% agree with you.
Okay.
1000% agree with you.
It kind of takes a minute to get there, and then it's like, oh.
I've heard other reviewers complain that it is more a transmission issue than a power engine issue. I will say, I alluded to, it is a mild hybrid. You turned it off, like first chance you got. The start-stop in this is rather aggressive, and it does a very weird thing that I've noticed, like ferrying people around. If you come to a stop, you put it in park, you like go to help somebody out of the back seat, the car realizes, oh, you're not in it anymore. It turns it off, like
Completely off. Like you have to press the start button
like
again.
off.
Weird.
Like I've gone into the mall for an hour off, and it's just very strange. So yes, that coupled with like trying to park it in our garage. It's like, okay, how much do I give it? Because this is big and I don't want to run over anything or anyone.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's a big vehicle when you're trying to accelerate, I guess.
But it's
takes a
quick.
minute.
Like when you get going, when you are in motion.
Once you're in motion, it's a smooth ride, it's quick.
Steering's
no
not too heavy.
No, the steering's not heavy at all.
It is big. You should have seen me parking this at Tucker's Christmas program. Like the area in which I had to wedge myself in there is very interesting, which I guess brings us to the cameras on this.
Yeah.
They're very ample. Like,
the cameras are
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different camera angles, and we can see underneath the vehicle.
Yeah, the cameras are great. I am not one that uses the cameras a lot to like back up and stuff, but I don't know if you noticed that backing out of our driveway, I barely looked anywhere else but my cameras.
Yes. So here's a fun little attention to detail. Just tap your right blinker as if you're going to change lanes. I said right. That was your left. Have you never turned right before? There we go. That was more difficult than I feel it should have been. But there you go. Yes, the blinkers, the taillights, everything on this graphic works. When the wheels are spinning, that works. I'm very curious, if I roll down my window, no, it doesn't show my window rolling down. Or does it? No, it doesn't. But very in-depth camera system on this.
Do better.
Do better, Rover, come on. But you can do an off-road mode, which shows your front tires and all that fun stuff. And then I joked about how you can see underneath the vehicle because it remembers what we drove over. Just all kinds of cool stuff on this one. So really like the cameras for parking in tight spaces, which I've done.
Visibility is amazing.
Okay, so yes, let's talk about that. I think that is what I love most about this is the seating position and how it relates to visibility. We're sitting up over the dash, so we can see everything in front of us.
Yeah.
The windows are big, boxy, and square.
Yeah.
Like you can see.
Yeah, no issues with visibility.
The one visibility spot I find I can't get rid of this. Where's the X? Let's go home. The one visibility spot I have with this, I'm curious if you've had the same issue. That spare tire on the back is a slight problem for me. I don't know I don't know what it is. If my brain's just not comprehending, if it doesn't like that this rearview mirror is actually mounted on the ceiling and not the windshield, but something about it. I always feel like I'm like, why is that back there? I don't.
Hasn't bothered me.
Well, there you go. So just me.
Just you.
Yep.
That sounds
So,
like a you problem.
rides well. Exterior is designed well. Interior is designed quite well. Comfortable ride. Plenty of power. Why don't we talk about Tucker's child safety seat, and then we'll transition into storage.
Okay.
With this being a third row, I figure the best place to start talking about child seat installation is back here in the third row. This is a 3-person rear bench that is big enough for adults, but I'll go ahead and call out right now, the center seat is hampered by all the cutouts for the seatbelt restraints. So you're sitting on just a little bit of foam here in the middle. Not the best seat in the house. The outboard seats both have lower anchor points here, and all 3 have top tethers on the back side. Let's just go ahead and bring in Tucker's child safety seat. We'll do rear facing first, then flip it around and see how easy it is to install here. And then we will move to the second row and see how much room that leaves us in the front. One last thing before we do, we have a sunroof up above us, a little phone storage pocket here, cup holder right here with little rubber grippers, USB power port right here, AC vent. So you really aren't a second-class citizen way back here in the back. But now let's go bring in Tucker's child safety seat. The big boxy shape of this vehicle means the doors open nice and wide and allow us to get that in and out very easily. Woo! Climbing in could be a little easier. These seats don't quite slide forward enough, but it gets the job done. This is Tucker's Graco Extend-A-Fit car seat, and you can see, we'll go ahead and put it in place here and see how much room it leaves for the second row passengers. Whew, once we get everything into place. So you can see, we can scoot it back a little bit. It does kind of cramp the space, but I don't foresee you putting a rearward facing child seat back here all that often. So yes, there's a decent amount of space back here. I would not want to ride long term. Let's go ahead and flip this car seat around, because rear facing car seat's really going in the second row. Anyway, we'll put the top tether down behind the headrest before we get too far into this one. And both of the lower latch points are marked on the seat backs, though they ride up really high against the seat back. So getting them to latch is just a little tricky, but can be done if you hold your mouth just right. Let's see here. There we go. Now tightening this up here on the driver's side be a little difficult, but I've got plenty of room to get in here and really snug it down. Now let's go around to the back, see what kind of cargo space we have behind the third row, and snug that top tether down. Okay, the back of the Defender, much like Jeeps and Broncos, is a side hinged door, and you can fling it open and it doesn't like slam into place. It's very nice, very well thought out. You can see back here the 60 or the 40-20-40, should say, split third row seat. We do get this kind of flimsy cargo shade, but we'll drop that down and go to the top tether right here. It's gonna be a two-handed process to get that tightened into place, but very shallow depth right here. Anyone should be able to install this very easily. And because the top of the seat is very firm, I'm not really worried about long-term damage to the seat itself here. If you want to, you can fold all three of these sections down independently of one another, but you do not get a completely flat load floor. The seat bottom or seat back is raised just a little bit up off the back, but they do all tilt and tumble forward independently of one another. But now let's get that car seat out, put it in the second row in a rearward facing configuration to see how much room it leaves for the front passenger, and then we'll get it snugged up for Tucker. All right, second row, much more my speed when it comes to putting a child safety seat in. I will say these aren't child seat friendly, so if you do want to climb into that third row while a child seat is in place, luckily it is 60-40 split, with the 40% being over here where we normally put Tucker's child safety seat. So that gives you a little more freedom over there. This center section does in fact fold down, but it is not completely flush all the way back. So just a different option for you if you need it. You also do get a fold down rest with cup holders. And then the lower latch points here are underneath this flap, so that should make them very easy to get to. I like how it isn't Velcro or anything. It's just very simple. One last thing before I bring Tucker's child safety seat in, ceiling mounted vents, really like that. And they are a little bit further back. So if he were rearward facing, he's gonna get air directly on him. We do have air vents on the back of the center console as well. I like options. Well done, Land Rover, with that one. So back to Tucker's Graco Extend-A-Fit child seat. We'll go ahead and set it for rear facing configuration. And you can see here with this seat all the way back, I can leave the driver's seat or the passenger seat exactly where I had it. So very comfortable up front, makes for a very comfortable ride all the way around. So this bigger platform, well, maybe gave you a little bit more room here in the middle, but really benefited you in the third row. I'll say this works very well for a rear facing car seat. Flipping it around to see just how easy it is to install up front here. We'll drop this top tether underneath the headrest. We do have top tethers all the way across here in the middle as well. We'll recline the seat just a little bit to match the pitch of the seat back itself. And oh yeah, much easier to find and locate and attach these lower latches here in the second row than it was in that third row. And then we can very easily snug this down into place from the side over here. And because these slide, let's see if it slides enough. Not great. It's going to be just a little bit of a difficult blind job back here, tightening it up from the side of the vehicle. I will say there is a little give to the seat back here, but not so much that I think we're going to damage the seating material long term. Very easy to install. Overall, I'd give this a solid A. For ease of installation and installation options. You can get 3 here in the middle, 3 in the back, though it would need to be a slimmer fitting child seat for the middle. Very, very nice, very convenient. So 2 thumbs up, solid A. I did want to go ahead and climb in and show you just how much space I have in front of a rear facing car seat. In the second row, you can see perfectly fine. Perfectly acceptable, plenty of room, like it a lot. And then of course, all the storage up here that we were talking about earlier. Just an all around good family vehicle that is a little bit surprising to me. I am really impressed with how much I like this vehicle. Able to put Tucker's car seat in multiple different locations in this vehicle. That means all the way back in the third row. And that third row is comfortable for real life adults, which we've put back there, including myself. But your dad is ridden back there, my aunt is ridden back there. The only problem is that the ingress-egress of getting back there is a little tough. These seats do slide forward, kind of makes it tough.
Yeah.
But, and then very odd how the third row seats, when you fold them flat, aren't flush with the storage back there, and there's no way to like make it so.
Yeah.
Nitpicks, but we wouldn't be buying the 130 I'd be buying the 110.
Does the 110 have a third row?
You can option it with dual like jump seats back there. It's not like a true adult-ready third row, but we would not if we were. We would just go with 5-person.
Just a 5-person.
I've been on their website quite a bit. So I don't know if
you might need to log off their website.
But yeah. So storage. Before we get into window sticker, what are your thoughts on storage in here? Because you've kind of alluded to not liking it as much as I thought you'd be all over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can reach through behind the screen.
Yeah, but
there's this tray here.
Okay.
There's plugs here, plugs here. Like there's all this storage for your purse, which you always bring up down here. A wireless charger, cup holders, center console storage, which you can get a fridge. I know you like that.
I do like that.
Storage in the doors.
Let me.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I do like the shelf, but I'm not going to put everyday crap on that shelf.
Okay.
Because I don't want everybody seeing my crap hanging out. And that is the way that most of this storage is. Like,
it's all exposed.
It's all exposed. And this center console is super tiny. It fits like this one little bag.
Yeah.
Would fit 2 water bottles at most.
You could get 4 in there. Vertically.
Maybe it slopes down right here.
You could get 4 in vertically.
Okay, maybe. But that's very small. For as big as this thing is, that is a small hole.
I will say.
And then, yes, I can stick my purse under here, but it is a struggle, and I have a small purse.
Yeah.
So, and that's not
So you
normal
can
of...
option a bench seat up here with a jump seat right here. I wouldn't. I'd go with this. But fun, interesting storage fact. This little opening right here to that opening down there worked very well for bringing you flowers. Because I'm always trying to figure out how do I bring flowers home without crushing them. This was like the perfect place.
A perfect flower?
Reel of that on the GT Garage Talk YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all.
Well, then let's buy it.
There you go. Hey, flower story. Gets her every time. Yeah, I really like it. We've got this massive panoramic roof. There's a third piece of glass way back there over the third row of seats. Unfortunately, on the 130, you don't get the cool safari windows on the sides of the roof. You just get that extra panel of glass back there. But and then there's all the infotainment stuff in here. I go into further detail in my own review, but we have quad zone climate control in here. Oh.
I like this.
The duality of the heated and ventilated seats?
This is the smart.
Yes.
The smart way to do a dual function button.
Yes.
Where you have
Kia, take notes. This.
That you have that plus your seat ventilation and heat all in one thing. Love it. Easy peasy.
Brings us to...
What's the gas mileage?
So, I'll bring this back around to another vehicle that we've had that we mostly liked, the Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. Exact same fuel economy. That had a little 4-cylinder. This has a bigger 6-cylinder. 17 city, 21 highway, 19 combined. 17.6 is what I can see on your digital information screen back there.
Yep.
Which we know you're not the biggest fan of all digital gauges, but I mean, the steering wheel's so nice. You like
the steering wheel? I love the steering wheel.
It's very soft leather. Like not squishy, but soft.
But soft, yeah. And then you have that hard texture right here, which I like.
Is that metal? That's got to be metal.
I don't know. But, yeah, I like it a lot.
I get a little lost with the duality of some of the buttons over there, the multi-purpose buttons. I haven't been able to figure out how to reset the trip computer since we've had this, so that's a weird one. I've even Googled it, so let me know in the comments below. And owners, help me. Trip computer, how do we reset it?
You don't need to know.
Yeah.
You don't need to know.
Window sticker.
Me?
Guesses.
Okay, no, I was thinking about it the other day. 92.
Yeah.
Am I close? Yeah.
Yeah. You're in the ballpark. 8825.
Yeah, that's not
as
bad.
this one sits. Starts at 78,300. Again, going back to the fact that I've been on their build and price, these are so customizable. Like, you can change the color up here, back here, down here.
I like that. Yeah.
Very customizable, almost to a fault, where it gets
Yeah.
very confusing.
Too many options.
The deeper in you dive. But again, going back to a previous unibody off-road focused vehicle that we drove, do you like this better than that Jeep Grand Cherokee?
Yes.
And if we got the 110, we would be playing in that size and price class, though the one I built is just $4,000 less than this 130, because, you know, I kind of embellished on some things. It's all fake money anyway. Do you feel a 110 version of this, because we don't need the 130, do you feel a 110 could fit in our life, knowing the price now?
It is a steep price.
So, yeah.
If we were looking in that price range, it would be on the list. I would want, the one thing, like, if you're in that price range, though, like, I really like a head-up display.
$1,000 standalone option.
Well, there you go. Sign us up.
See, I've been on Build a Price, so I know.
And you know what I like.
Yes, and I put that one in my back pocket, so I knew to pull it out. If you want to know more from Holly, see some behind-the-scenes stuff from her, see what she's driving and testing, go find her on Facebook and Instagram at Female Consumer. You can find all things GT Garage Talk at GT Garage Talk on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, all the things at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for us, in the one British car I'm currently willing to break my rule on, until next time, gearheads, bye. What are your thoughts, T-Man? You like how there's an air vent above your head, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What car is this?
You forgot which car we're on?
Poor kiddo. Can't have a normal life. Is everybody ready?
I'm ready. I'm not ready. Okay, I'm ready. I'm not ready. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
Right.